everyone, and welcome to episode 30 of Sooner Girl Sports Pod. And I have another fantastic guest on today's show with Mattie Cassaday, who is a former mascot at the University of Oklahoma. And I caught her TikTok on the app when I was just scrolling one day, came across it, totally cracked up. I will share this TikTok on my social media this week so you can see. But I knew I had to reach out to her to see about coming on the show. So I sent her a message and was like, hey, I'd love to have you on the podcast if you're interested. She was like, hey, I'm an oldie, but I would love to come on the pod. And I'm like, I don't care when you were a mascot. I think this is so cool. She had some great stories that I know everybody would love to hear. So I thank you so much, Mattie, for coming on the podcast to share all of your awesome adventures with my listeners. She has a great story about Baker Mayfield that is probably one of my favorite things that I've ever heard. So I'm super excited for you guys to hear that one as well. So Mattie has been an OU fan her whole life. She's a third generation Sooner. She graduated from OU in 2019 cum laude with her degree in public health and nonprofit administration with a minor in biology. During her time at OU, Mattie was very active in the student community, participating extensively in the OU dance, marathon, Greek life, and athletics. For 2 of her years, she was friends with Boomer and Sooner and had lots of horsing around at football games, basketball games, and pretty much all other sporting events and activities that you could think of. Now she has her MPH in Global Health and Epidemiology, and she works as an environmental health and safety specialist in Denver, Colorado. She lives with her fiance, Kyle, and her cat, Venus, and her dog, Moose. In her free time, she throws pottery, does photography, and loves to watch OU's football. Her mom and grandma both went to OU, so she grew up watching and cheering for OU her whole life, and she fell in love with it. By the time that she was looking at colleges, she knew that she had to end up there. She discusses, again, her most notable Boomer Sooner injury is a concussion from Baker Mayfield. You will not want to miss that story because, again, it is hilarious. You can find Mattie on Instagram at Mo Cassaday and also on TikTok at Mo Cassaday. And again, I will link those in the show notes. So thank you again to Mattie for this awesome interview. And I hope you guys enjoyed this fun conversation. Mattie is a riot. I am so glad to have connected with her. And she is truly one of my favorite guests that I've had the chance to visit with. So enjoy this fun conversation with Mattie Cassaday.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thankful for you, Mattie, for coming on to share with me because I saw your TikTok just pop
I didn't
up,
expect it to like blow up like that. And I just kept looking. I was like, next thing you knew, it had like 35,000 views. I was like,
know.
okay.
It definitely did. I have to post that when I drop your episode because it's hilarious.
Thank you. I thought it was really funny.
No,
Actually, I got the inspiration from one of my friends. Actually, she like sent me another mascot's TikTok like that.
Oh, yeah.
And she was like, you have to do this.
Absolutely.
I was like, I'm going to do this.
Absolutely.
So I'm like scouring YouTube for that commercial that I was in because it's like the only film I know for sure I have of me in the suit. And cool. I was like, so that's why it's like professionally shot clips because I was like, this is going to be the easiest to find.
That's amazing. Well, my best friend and I send TikToks back and forth to each other.
Yeah.
And I think actually she may have been the one that sent that to me or I sent it to her one.
Oh, that's funny.
And we were talking about it, but nevertheless, she was like, you need to have that girl on your podcast. I was like, well, I already commented, so we'll see what happens. So yeah, I always tell everybody, I know I don't have a super huge platform, but it's definitely growing and it's a lot of fun because I try to find like, you know, the not typical guests, so to speak. Of course, I like to find women, but you being a mascot is not something, you know, normal, so to speak, that you would catch on a sports podcast. But I love it because I'm trying to get all the people like behind the scenes, and I had a girl on that does turf management for
OU. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that was really cool. And then a girl that does fan relations for softball, football, women's gymnastics. So like all the behind the scenes at the games and just your not typical people that get attention. And I love it. Well, what's funny is I saw on Instagram, I shared it on my stories. It was a video of the mascots, and I guess they're currently in California or something, and they were getting in a pool, or one of them was in the pool, and the other one like jumped in, and I was like, I cannot imagine how much fun it would be to be a mascot, because you don't talk. Like, you don't say anything. You're just out there having a heck of a time.
Right, like it's like so fun because you are the center of attention, but
Yes.
yet like you are completely anonymous, so you can
I
be
love it.
as like embarrassing and weird as you want to be
Yes.
because like that's the whole point. Is
It's
like
amazing. It's
that's like what you're
amazing.
supposed to do. Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
like you get to like do stuff like that. I could imagine jumping in a pool with fur on. That sounds like my worst nightmare
I
personally.
couldn't either.
I was such a princess about like, and this was like known within like our team that I was such a princess about never having to wear like the fur that was underneath it. I would
Oh.
never rewear it because on game days we would have to. So it's like we'd like fan it out and air it out, but like whoever wore it for pregame, and then it'd be like the second half
Oh.
would wear it. I religiously did all of the pregame stuff for football games
Yes.
specifically because I was like, I am not re-wearing fur. I am
Oh
not
no.
re-wearing a head. Like, I'm not doing it. I'm,
No.
mm-mm. And all the guys were like, don't you want to be out there for like the football games? I was like, no, I'm good.
No.
I've done my time. I get to watch the game. I get to be on the
Absolutely.
field. I get to hang out. But like, no, I'm not wearing sweaty fur. I'm not doing it.
No. Well,
So like, I didn't like it even when it was like mildly wet. I couldn't imagine being
yes.
like
Oh
soaking
gosh.
wet in it.
No.
Yeah.
Well, it has to be so hot in there. And I
Yeah.
always think about that on game day because I'm sitting over there sweating, thinking, at least I'm not in a furry suit. But it's a good time for sure. I love the mascots, but I can't imagine even pregame. I mean, you're
Yeah.
out running around the stadium and
Right.
holy smokes. So, how on earth did you end up this being your thing?
Funny because like I was like my high school's mascot, just
Oh,
kind of
okay.
for
Yeah.
funsies.
Yeah.
And then it was like I guess it was it was the end of my sophomore year. I was friends with a couple of guys on the team, and one day one just like we were just hanging out, and he was like, "Oh, you should try out for mascots," and I was like, "Oh yeah, sure, like that sounds fun. When is it?" He's like, "Oh, today in like 3 hours." I was like,
Oh, my.
"Okay."
Okay.
I was like, "I guess sure." So I just kind of like showed up to tryouts, and then the rest is history. But it was just because it's like I had friends on the team, and they're like, "I think you'd be really good. You're tall, and you were
Yeah.
your high school mascot." Yeah,
And you clearly have a good time in life, so that
right.
helps.
Yeah, thank you.
No shame, no shame. I
Yeah,
love
no
it.
shame.
Well,
Yeah.
like I said, I've always thought that that's something that would be fun. One of my favorite things is so Top Dog has returned.
Yes, Top
was-
Dog has returned. That was like such a thing. It was such
Yes.
a like it was a very polarizing topic within the mascots on OU because
Okay.
I was all for Top Dog, and then
Yes.
some of the other guys were just like, no, no Top Dog, and I was like,
Oh no.
live a little. I was like, I love Top Dog. I'm
I
all for
love
it. Sure.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know if maybe it was because they didn't like it for some reason or if it was like a competition thing, but I think
don't
there's
know.
room for all of them. in my
Right. That's kind
opinion.
of how I was.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
love Top Dog. I mean, I remember I actually have a plush Top Dog on the bed behind me
Cute.
from,
Oh, yay.
back when I
Yeah.
was a kid, God knows when. And so I love Top Dog. And so when he came back, it was actually, I want to say 2019 or 2020, obviously before
Yeah.
COVID, I can't remember. But my husband and I were at a basketball game, and I ran down, grown woman,
have to
run
see
down
Top
to the
Dog.
court and was like, I have to go get my picture with
Yeah.
Top Dog. And I love it. And so the last couple of years, it's been a thing for him to come from the rafters
Yeah,
at
that's
one of the
really
basketball
cool.
games, and now that's cool. Now I don't know that I personally would want to do that part of it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
I'm glad that-
I never got to do that because it was
Yeah.
like, if I recall correctly, and so like to give it context, I was a mascot between the fall of 2016 and like spring of 2018.
Okay.
And so I wasn't a mascot for my entire time, and it's also
Right.
been several years
That's
since I've been a
fine, yeah,
mascot. So
yeah,
things
yeah.
might have changed. So to give it all context, it's just what I know. But that was like, it was only alumni were allowed to do that like drop down from the ceiling because it's like, I think it was like a liability for students, but like if
makes
you weren't a
sense.
student, it's
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
So it was more just like people who happened to like be in town, or if there was like an alumni, or like
how
there was like
funny.
someone in town who like helped with like make the
Okay.
suits and stuff, and he would do it a lot. So it was
All right.
never like an active student.
Okay.
At least at my time, like we weren't allowed to do it. So
Interesting. I mean, it kind of makes sense now that you think
Yeah.
about it, but I love it. It's one of my favorite things. And my niece, she's 10. I took her to her first basketball game, a women's game this past winter, and she just thought that was the coolest thing she had ever seen.
Yeah.
And I tried to video it for her, and so it's a big hit for sure in the arena. So I think it's cool. So one thing
Yeah.
I want to ask you before I forget, you said you wanted to talk about your injury, which
yes.
is your concussion.
My
with
concussion.
Baker. So
with Baker,
Baker is, I feel like if he knew me, we would be friends.
right?
because
That's how I love Baker. Like, I am the biggest Baker fan, so I want it to be noted. I have no ill will towards Baker when it comes down. Now, at the time, I was really upset about it, but now it's really funny. And like, this is like my like two truths and a lie. Is like,
for sure.
Yeah, that I got a concussion from Baker Mayfield.
That's really funny. I mean, just knowing his personality, what I know of it, and everything, I can only imagine. So let's hear it.
It was okay. Yeah. So we'll start all the way back. So we are at. It's 2017. It's October. We are in Manhattan, Kansas.
Okay.
And this was like one of our away games. So like the mascot would go to the away games. And so I think like that season I had also been to like, I think it was the season before I went to Tech. And then this was like my first like away game where I'd gone to Baylor or something like that. So it's like, fairly standard fare. And it's the end of the game. And there's like 5 minutes left in the game. And we had just gotten the ball back. And it's like a tie game where we were coming up from behind, and like we get the ball back, like kind of like in a, I don't remember if it was just like a interception or what, but we get the ball back, and a bunch of players. I'm like standing facing a little OU section there at the very end of the field in Manhattan, and like they're like some players are like jumping up and like hugging their moms. It's super cute, and they run back on the field, and then there's like celebrating and going on, and then I think then we get a touchdown, and it's either to tie the game or to be ahead by a point. And then more players run over, and it's like super exciting. And I'm like jumping all around. I'm like in my little horse suit, having the time of my life. And again, my back is to the field, and I just feel like these two hands just like wrap around me and like lift me into the air. And I'm sitting there like, this is how I die. This is how I die in a horse suit in Kansas. This is how I die. Just go limp. I literally just like went limp. I was like, I don't know what to do. And then I'm like drop slash like thrown onto the ground, and I like landed weird. So I like landed, it was like shoulder head, and I hit the ground pretty hard, and I'm like looking up, and Baker's just over me, just like yelling. And I'm just like laying there. I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Only half of the cheerleaders like saw this, but the ones that have their jaws are on the ground. Like everyone else is jumping against cheering, and they're just like speechless because they just watched this happen. So I am like miserable because I was like, I feel so bad. And to this day, I don't even remember how this game ended because I was like just in like, I had just got the concussion. I don't remember what was happening. And then at the end of the game, Baker runs up to me and he's like, you okay? And I'm like, in a horse suit, and I can't talk, so I just like shake my head like, yeah, I'm sorry. Like, what am I gonna say? No? Like, how do I say that? And then like the spirit coach comes up and he's like, wow, that's so cool. Baker came and talked to you. And I like grab his head. I'm like, no, you don't understand.
He's trying to kill me.
Baker trying to kill me. And I was like, I think he gave me a concussion. He dropped me on the ground. I feel so bad. Can I please go change? Because usually we're supposed to like, like talk to the fans and take pictures or whatever. And like, I normally, and I love to do that stuff after the game. It's so great. But I was like, I might simply die in this horse suit on this field. I need to get out. So I go get out of the suit, and like, of course, like the changing room for the mascot is always really funny because it's like not really, because like Spirit doesn't really need to like change. So they're just kind of like in a big group with everybody, but like the mascots we do. So my changing room is like the stairwell next to the football visitors. Because that's like the only like private space they could find for me, because like their Spirit is set up differently, and like Kansas State mascots, it's just like a dude with a head, so it's like arms and stuff, so they like they kind of know who it is. So it like totally makes sense they don't have like a set area. So I'm just like in the stairwell, half out of this horse suit, dying, and the football trainer was also one of the trainers for Spirit, and she comes in and she's just like, hey, like Phil said you had an accident. And I was like, yeah, Baker picked me up and threw me on the ground. I feel really bad. Like, I've already had 2 concussions in my life. I think I just got a concussion. And she like did the initial testing, and she was like, okay, yeah, I definitely think you have a concussion, but like come in tomorrow, we'll do like the formal testing, like let the coach know if you, because we're driving home to Norman this night, so I have to go get on a bus. And she was like, let the coach know if you like start to feel bad, we'll like find you a hospital or something. I was like, okay, cool. In the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So then, I guess, then I'm hearing this all from like secondhand, mostly from her, is I guess she like went back into the football like locker room and was like, Baker, you gave the mascot a concussion, and it was a girl, and he was like, oh my God. And no one around him believed him, because again, no one saw this. There's no footage of this anywhere. Like all the ESPN footage I have tried to find, I've scoured the internet for this because I was like, this is my, it just happens. But like the ESPN footage cuts off right as he's like lunging towards me. And I was like, no! So but I can't find, they have that footage that shows he's like running at me. And so, and I guess he like tried to come like say sorry, but I had already got on the bus because I was just like, get me out of here. I want to get out. And so that's my concussion story. But the funny like follow-up story to that is like, I never saw Baker again until finals week. So this was like October. And then finals week finished somehow like miraculously just like had my last final Tuesday night. And so I was just like done finals week. So so I'm like in sweatpants, hair in a bun back, and I'm like gonna go meet my other friend who like also finished all her finals, and we're gonna go get margaritas at Fuzzy's. And we're like walking back to her house, and she's like, oh, wouldn't it be so funny if we stopped in for a drink at Logi's? I was like, oh my God, that'd be so funny. So we just like stop into Logi's, and it's dead because it's Tuesday on finals week. And I'm like facing the door, and like she's facing the rest of the bar, and she's like, Maddie, don't look now, but Baker Mayfield's here. And I was like, I have to talk to him. Like I'm making a scene, and she's like, Maddie, do not talk to him. I was like, I have to talk to him. And I have to. Like I haven't seen him since, and like he's like getting chatted up by somebody else, and like I wait for her to leave, and then I walk over, and this is like the weekend after he won the Heisman, so he's wearing his little Heisman Heisman, so this is like a big time. I was like, hey Baker, like so sorry to bother you. You don't know me, but do you remember how you gave the mascot a concussion at the K-State game? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, that was me. It's so nice to meet you. And like one of his buddies is like laughing hysterically because he's like, we didn't believe him. I was like, oh no, now you can believe him.
That's really funny.
And he like jumps up and gives me a hug. He buys me and my friend a drink. He's like, I'm so sorry. Like I knew somebody on the team at one point, and I thought it was him. And the second I picked you up, it wasn't. I know it's like, that's not him. And he's like, I tried to set you down, and then he just kind of fell. And I was like, yeah, it just kind of happens. Like it's fine now. And then the next night, I like went out with my friends again because I was like done with finals, and they were finally done with finals. And then I run into him again at Logi's, and I'm like just much more cuter this time. So I'm like, Baker, do you remember me? And he's like, yes, I have someone that you have to meet. And he grabs me and takes me. He's like, Mark, it pulls me up to Mark Andrews. And I was like, Mark, this is the girl that I gave a concussion to. And I was like, oh my God, it's so nice to meet you. Like, starstruck. Because he's a big dude, too. He's a big dude.
Tall and broad,
he's really tall. And so, yeah, that's my concussion story. So Baker Mayfield could never pick me out in a crowd, but I think if you were to ever ask him, be like, hey, do you recall how you gave the mascot a concussion? He'd be like, oh my God, yeah, I did.
Okay, that's really funny. So, like I said, it's like on my goal of life missions to someday hopefully meet him because I think that we could be friends. And I feel like, not in like a weird way, but I'm like, he could be like my little brother because I feel like our personalities are like we're both kind of sassy. Like, you know, I would totally grab my crotch at Kansas as well. You know, like that's just how I am. And so I feel like we could be friends. So anyway, all that to say, I've told my friends in high places that one of these days they're going to have to pull a string for me. And
I know, they're going to have to.
If that ever happens, that's going to be like the first thing I say to him.
Please. I want to know. Someone also once... Yes, please. Thank you. Someone once told me too that like he had talked about it on like a radio show or a podcast, but I could never find that either because I think it was on the radio. And someone told me like months after, and I was like, well, I'm never finding that. So
that's funny.
But because I was like, and like the thing is, it's like people are like, there's no way that you're lying about this because this is far too detailed and too crazy. I was like, why would I lie about this?
Yeah, he knew it.
I was like, I have the doctor's note that said I got a concussion because I got tackled. Like,
that's really funny. That's really funny. Okay, so how did you end up at OU? Are you from Oklahoma?
From Denver.
Okay.
I'm from Colorado originally, but my mom and my grandma both went to OU.
Okay,
And so I like grew up like born and raised on OU football. And when it came time to apply for colleges, I think my mom, she denies this, but I think she's lying to me. And I think she played the long game with me because she was always like, you don't have to go to OU, you just have to like OU football. And I was like, great, I can do that. And so by the time it came time to like apply for colleges, I was like applying to all these schools, and she's like, well, like just apply to OU. Like, just do it. It's just like, it's on the Common App, super easy. Just do it. I was like, oh, okay, sure. And so like I applied, and then like we went to go tour, and I was like super like, oh, like I had applied like early acceptance to like other places. And so I was like signed my name in blood, was going to go to that school if I got accepted. And I went to OU, and I like toured it, and I just like fell in love with it. I loved Oklahoma. The people were so nice. Like, Like I had a great time on the tour, just like really fell in love with the campus. And I was like,
That's
yeah, you
cool.
know what? If I don't get into like my quote unquote dream school, I'm not gonna be that mad. And then I didn't get accepted. And I was like, well, I'm going to OU. And then so it's kind of
Wow.
like,
How neat.
it's funny because it's like I just denied that I was gonna go to OU.
Right.
And then I was like, well, just kidding. I actually love it.
That's cool. Well, I love hearing people's stories how they end up there because I grew up in Oklahoma and
Yeah,
all I ever knew my whole life was OU football. And
right.
all I ever wanted to do was go to OU. And I graduated in 2003, so it was a minute ago. But I just have so many memories of being there, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. I'm
Right.
not athletic in any form of the word, but I always thought that it would have been so fun to like be the mascot or something because, like I said,
Right.
you don't have to talk to anybody. Like
Don't have
you're
to
just
talk
out
to
there
anybody.
having a good time. So
Right.
yeah, I mean, I don't even know what all it would entail. Like, what did you have to do at your tryout? Yeah,
The
you
tryout,
remember?
well, I will say I am the least athletic D1 athlete out there because like it's not that I'm not going to say it's not hard, but it's just
Well,
not
yeah.
like your typical sort of athleticness that you need because
Right,
you don't really need
right.
to be able to like do stuff. You just need to be able to like jump around and be
Yeah,
weird
well, we can do
and
that.
have good endurance. And that's about
I
it.
definitely could have done that 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Not so much now.
But the tryout was cool. Like I, at first it was like an interview because they like
Oh,
needed
right.
to make sure that you were gonna like mesh well on the
Mm-hmm,
team.
yeah.
And then they did like a blind suit tryout. So it's like they like put us in like I was
Okay.
like someone to
Uh-huh.
be in like one of the Sooner jerseys and like in the suit. So it would like take kind of like the bias out of it.
Right.
And then they would like kind of throw situations at you like I'm a 3-year-old kid and I'm super excited to see you, or like I'm a mom trying to hand you my baby, or like yell
Okay.
at you like what's your name, because you're like supposed to point at your back because you can't like say
Right,
it.
right. Yeah.
And so they were just like kind of like throwing out
Okay.
scenarios like that, and then they like played a bunch of music and you had to like dance to it, and it
Okay.
was like a lot of
That's
like the viral
fun.
dances
Yeah.
and stuff. And then the last one you got to like pick a dance and like go out there and dance in the suit, and it was really fun. And
Okay.
then once I was on the team, we added in more of like a like physical component and just like making sure it's like we just need to make
Yeah.
sure you can like it would be like it wouldn't even be that bad. It'd be just like run a lap. Are you good?
Oh,
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
for
Yeah.
sure. Okay. Well, yeah, because sometimes they'll run around Lloyd Noble Center with the flag or
Yeah.
something, or if one of the
Right?
rednecks
Or like on
or whatever.
football games when they run out with a Sooner
Oh,
schooner.
yeah. Oh, my
And they
gosh.
like and you can
Yeah.
run. I did that once
I trip.
and I bailed. I bailed out so I
Yeah.
was worried I was gonna trip, but I bailed out so fast because I was like, I'm not gonna make it, and I just like ran off to the side. Because it's like you could either run the whole way or you could like there was like a turn off point, and I
Yes.
was like immediately I was like, nope,
Turn
I'm
off.
done.
I'm
Like
out.
I'm
Yeah.
good. I know
Sure.
myself well enough. This is not gonna end well. I'm done.
That's so funny. Okay, so people, I never thought about like, did people ever try to hand you a baby?
No, but it
Okay.
like there were definitely people who were like they're like, oh, hold my kid for the
Right.
picture, and you're
Yeah.
like not supposed to hold them because it's like you don't want to hold a kid when you're like in all this stuff. That's just a liability. Like I don't want that, you don't want that. So it'd be
Right.
like I would just like always maneuver the parent in the photo with me and
Uh-huh.
like have them
Yeah.
hold the kid or like
Right.
set them down or like yeah.
That's so crazy. Well, people are crazy.
Yeah,
So,
people are wild, but
for sure.
it's definitely really fun. You get to see like it was cool because it was like basically like being the mascot was like an all access pass, right? Like you got
Yeah.
to go
Oh
to
my
like
gosh.
no one was gonna stop you from running around. So like yeah, like I got to like crowd surf up the
Oh,
student section
nice.
into like the
Okay.
president's box where it was
Yes.
David Board was the president, and,
Oh my
and Molly
gosh.
Shaw is like helping me through the window, and she's like, "Would you like some shrimp?" And I was like, "This is the coolest day of my life!" Like I was like,
Wow.
"Wow!" And like
That's
another
really
time, I was
funny.
like, we like went to one of the other boxes because again, you can just like walk right past it.
Yeah.
And I got to meet like Kristen Chenoweth because I was just like in the suit, and she's like, "Oh my god, will you hold me for a picture?" And I was like, "This is the
Stop
greatest
it.
day of my life!" Like, so it was cool because it's like I got all these really like niche, cool experiences. It was like really fun, and it was really just like I kind of just like got to go out there and just like be myself and be
That's fun.
fun and weird, and it was great. Like it was such a cool experience.
It sounds like it. That is super cool. So
Yeah.
who was the best person that you ever met? I mean, I know you mentioned Kristen Chenoweth, like famous people that I mean, I know Toby Keith was probably around quite a
Yes,
bit.
yeah, I got to meet Toby Keith.
Yeah, which he was always a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think mine was Kristen Chenoweth because I'm a theater kid at
Yeah.
heart, and
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, this is the coolest thing.
I would fangirl for sure. I've heard, I love her. I love Wicked, all the things.
Yeah.
But I actually saw a TikTok, I think, of her cheering before one of the Thunder games, like Let's Go Thunder and whatever. And I thought, wonder if I could get her to come on the podcast.
That would be super cool. Well, she goes to a lot of the OU games because she went to OCU, right? Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Oklahoma City.
Well,
so cool. Dream.
I mean, oh my gosh, it'd be like two of my favorite things colliding. So, and my husband would be super jealous. He'd probably try to come in here with me.
You'd be like, "Hi, do you need anything?"
It's been really crazy, like the people that I've connected with, just like randomly,
like on the internet. Like that's like been a cool thing about it is like so much easier to connect with people.
It totally is,
especially about like niche things too, like OU sports. Like that's super, very like. Because it's like not like a typical sports podcast because you're focusing on women.
Yes.
And that is like, and I feel like it's taken such a long time for women's sports to be so much more mainstream when it should have been all this time, but okay, sure, whatever. And so, like this is a good time because it's like, I feel like we're hitting the golden era of women's sports. So
we totally are. Earlier I actually talked to a tennis player that I met at a tennis match earlier this spring. But another thing too that I've wanted to focus on is not just women, but also those sports that often get overlooked, like tennis.
Yeah.
Soccer, volleyball, track, things like that, because everybody talks about football and basketball and softball, baseball, and there's so many other athletes that, I mean, even like you put in the work and the time and the effort to do your thing, and technically you had to get overlooked to some extent because you had to be anonymous.
I had to be anonymous.
It's just like there's so many people behind the scenes doing all of this stuff, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'd never been to a soccer match. I went last year to my first one. I'd never been to tennis. So I went to a men's and a women's tennis match this spring, and I've never been to volleyball, so I'm going to do that in the fall. And there's a women's hockey team that's starting this fall. I talked to... Yes! So
yes, that's awesome.
There's a girl named Corey Mattie, and she is from Illinois. I actually had her on back in May, and she is starting this, and
that's awesome.
She is so cool, and I am so excited because she's been it's been in the works, for a while, and so the inaugural season is this fall, and so I'm
that's so cool.
I'm like, I haven't been to a hockey match. I've only been to like a professional one, and it's been 20 years. So I am excited. Of course, we do have a men's hockey club at OU.
Yeah,
it's a club sport, and the women's team will be as well. But I'm so excited. Yeah. Who knew that there's going to be a women's hockey team? And so, hey, I love this. Come tell me about it on the show, and I'm going to help spread the word. So anyway, it's just stuff like that I'm like, hey, I want to put that on my platform, and because people like to hear different stories.
Right.
And so,
like with all the sports too, I will say like being a mascot too, that was another really good way for me to get to go like see all of these, because that's what so like, when you're listening to all these sports, I was like, because I love sports, don't get me wrong, but I'm not the biggest sports, like I don't really watch sports to watch sports, you know, and I thought I was until I like started dating my current boyfriend, and he will just like have it on to have it on, and I'm like, why are we watching? I was like, so who are we rooting for? He's like, oh, no one. I'm like, so why is it on the TV? Can we please watch something else? Like, and it's like if it's OU, fine, because it's like I have a dedicated team, but he's like, oh, I don't care about either of these teams, and I'm like, so can we watch like a movie or something? Like I don't get it. So it was cool to get to like go, like I would go to like wrestling matches and volleyball games, and I think I did soccer once, and softball, baseball. So it was like cool to get to go to all of these like sporting events that I like probably wouldn't have gone to normally. Also like I just like my friends also weren't really the like, let's just go to this like random sporting event, even though like I totally should have been, because like when I went I was like, this is awesome. Why did it take me so long to get here? Like I'm having the best time. Like baseball games, I was like, I'm having the best time here.
Yes. Well, that's kind of how I felt about being at the soccer game last year for my first soccer game ever. And one of the mascots was there, and like a little pet band and some of the cheer. And that's obviously really cool, like for crowd engagement and things like that. And it was packed at that soccer game. And I do think it makes a difference when there's those components and people involved. But I thought the same thing. I'm like, why have I never been here? Like I went to college. I was there for 5 years. Like what the heck was I doing? I mean,
why did I not?
Yeah, like I did go to wrestling. Like a friend of a friend was a wrestler, but I didn't really do any of those for lack of a better word, like obscure sports.
Right.
Of
Yeah.
course I did basketball, football, and some softball just because I always enjoyed watching softball. But softball is a completely different world than it was 25
Yeah.
years ago. But anyway, it's just funny to think like, oh my gosh, like volleyball, soccer, track. I mean, even track and field, like it's crazy. They're putting in the work, they're putting in the
Right.
effort and the time,
Yeah.
and somebody needs to appreciate it because,
Right. Exactly.
yeah,
I feel like, yeah, I think that's like the gift and a curse of going to a school known for a certain sport
yes,
is that like you get that sport and that's super cool, but then it's like also like there are so many more
oh
underrated
yeah,
sports
absolutely,
there or like activities that like kind
yes,
of it's like oh you should be known for this but like yet we're
uh-huh.
not known for this like
Yeah,
also a tour guide at OU and I would say like on
oh
my tours all the
yes,
time when we would talk about football I was like well really we should be known as a gymnastics and softball school because
yes,
they are
yes.
so great.
They are. It's funny you said that. I actually spoke with the men's gymnastics coach,
Cool.
several months ago, Mark
Yeah.
Williams, and he has been there forever. And he, first of all, he's hilarious on social media. If you don't follow him, he's really funny.
Okay, I'll have to follow
But
him.
it was really neat to talk to him because he has the most national championships at the
Yeah.
university. I think 12 or 13 just from him and his
Right.
team. When most people hear gymnastics, they think of the women's gymnastics team, which is
Right.
great. I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah.
And that's probably one of the few times that women come to mind before
Right.
men's
Yeah.
sport. But, yes, KJ Kindler is amazing. Yes, give KJ a statue and all the flowers, all the things. But also, give Mark Williams a statue and all
Yeah.
the things because he is just as incredible. And I went to a men's gymnastics meet earlier this year as well. And same thing, it was so fun. And again, I thought, why have I not done this sooner? And it's hard to do all the things, but it's just one of those things like, don't let all these sports get overlooked. I just try to take one at a time,
Right.
like pick one, like, okay, I'm going to try to go to this one and go here. And
Yeah.
it's easy for them to get overlooked, but I feel bad for them because they put in the time and work and all of that. And man, they deserve all the attention. And
Yeah.
it's sad that not, I mean, I know not everybody can get all the attention all the time, but I'm like, don't forget about them because
Yeah, don't
they
forget.
literally finish, top 3 nationally pretty much
Right.
every year. So
Consistently,
it's just
yeah.
crazy, yeah, that they aren't at the top of people's minds. But
Right.
anyway,
That's always like that's one thing that like especially talking about it now I regret the most about college is because you would get in free with your student ID.
yes.
So
Oh
I'm
my
like,
gosh,
why didn't I go
yes,
more?
yes,
Like so yeah, like if there's any like people out here
yeah.
listening who is a current OU student, go to those games
Go.
because
Yeah,
they're
because
free
I
now.
think back in my day, everything was free except football and men's basketball.
Yeah,
So
that's how
I
it
don't.
was for us
Okay, I
too.
was like, I
Yeah.
don't know if that's still the case. It's a long time ago for me, but yeah, literally, pretty much everything was free, and still now, like you can go watch golf for free, tennis
Yeah.
is free, track is free. I'm not sure about volleyball, but soccer I think was like
Yeah.
$5. I mean,
Right.
and students get in free, and same with volleyball, and I think volleyball does sell tickets to the general public for just a
Right.
few dollars. But yeah, I mean, it's not a huge investment. And so
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, it's something that I'm trying to be more intentional about with myself, especially with what I'm doing, just in general, but also like it's a passion of mine because
Yeah.
yeah, there's so many people putting in the work that I don't want to get overlooked. I actually spoke to a tennis player earlier and he's from Africa. And so he
That's
was,
cool.
yeah, he's really awesome. I met him at a meet earlier this spring. I just went up to him because I recognized him from social media and he was so kind. And I love hearing him talk for one thing. His name is
Yeah.
Bruno. He's going to be on the show in the next few weeks as well. But
Oh, that's so cool.
he's so nice. And he was talking about like it's so important for the fans to show up because his family's in Africa. They're not
Right.
coming.
Yeah.
And his friends, anybody like they're back home. They're not able to come. And so it means so much to him to come out and see the fans that are there to watch them
Right.
and that are calling them by name and cheering Boomer Sooner. And like that means so much to them because like soccer and tennis and track and field, I know for sure have so many athletes that are from other countries.
Right.
So their families
Yeah.
aren't there. They're not coming.
Their support
So
systems aren't there. Yeah.
I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's so crazy to think about that. So hearing him talk about that, I was like, I just want to take everybody I know to the tennis.
We're all going to come and cheer for you.
We're all going party bus to the tennis game.
Party bus to the tennis games.
Yeah, but it's cool, to think about those things that I don't normally think about, so I know that no one else does, and they often get overlooked. So, I mean, I can only do so much. I'm only one person, but yeah, if I can attend a meet or whatever and make somebody's day, then
right. Well, and also like the podcast like brings awareness to it, because you're like also bringing it to people, because it's like people like me, like I can't really go to OU games, like I can watch whatever's on TV, but I'm kind of at the whims of whoever puts whatever on TV, so it's like, for sure, it also like kind of brings it's like more accessible.
For sure. Social media has really helped with that, because we can follow anything on social media these days too, if we can't watch it or go or whatever. So that's been helpful as well. So I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but
you're good.
Is there anything else that you want to talk about, or before we kind of close out?
Okay, good. I was going to say, I did have a thought on like when you were talking about how hot it was at the very beginning.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
So the rule of thumb was that it's 25 degrees hotter in the suit than it is outside.
Man.
Now, and take that with a grain of salt. I don't know who came up with that. That's just like mascot lore, I think. Okay. But that's kind of like the rule of thumb we always went by, was that it's like, and there were sometimes it was so miserably hot. And like, I think back to like my time as a mascot, and I'm like, why was I in like such good shape for how little I worked out? And it's because I was like literally sweating my body weight. I was sweating so much. My sophomore, junior, and first senior year of college, that's all I did was sweat.
Well, also our metabolism was much nicer to us in our 20s.
That too. Yeah.
I think that often the way that I drank and ate back then, and I'm like, how was I not 500 pounds? Oh, well, I lived on the third floor of an apartment building, and I sweat.
And you walk everywhere.
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, that's really crazy to think about. I've wondered, like, how much hotter it is.
Yeah, it's really hot, and you just, like, end up, like, we would have, like, where the spirit would, like, go, like, change and stuff, like, our little, like, room back in the stadium. We'd have, like, box fans, and I just, like, you would, like, just hold it in front of me.
Oh, my gosh, I bet.
Once you got out, you'd lay on the tile because it was cold, like.
Oh, my gosh.
And, like, the really, really hot days, they were really good about making sure that we, like, took enough breaks, and we always had water, and, like, especially, like, the beginning of summer games, because it would usually be, like, we would switch at the half. It would be, like, pre-game, first half, second half.
Yeah.
And because like there was, I think the largest the team was when I was there, there was 12 of us, and we were all kind of like divvied up by height.
Oh wow, okay.
So you'd usually like, you wouldn't be with the same person every time, but you would be like with someone of a similar height to you.
Yeah, makes sense.
And so like we would switch out like at every quarter, and that's when I got real princessy about not wearing second sweat, because I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm a princess. I will not be doing this. I can't do it.
I don't blame you at all. I don't blame you at all. So that's so interesting to think about. I've always wondered, and I think about the Thunder mascot, Rumble. I mean, he's inside most of the time, unless he's doing PR stuff. But still, that is a furry costume.
Yeah. The one I think about the most is like for Colorado is Rocky, the basketball, the Nuggets. He's the highest paid mascot ever. He gets paid like $600,000 a year. It's crazy. Whoa. Yeah. I know. He's like the highest paid mascot. And I like, because I had a moment where I was like, what if my side gig was being a mascot? And then I saw like all the things that he has to do. I was like, no, I will go see if the men's lacrosse team in Denver's mascot, the Mammoth, needs somebody. I need much lower stakes.
Yeah, right. I mean, I'm sure he earns every penny of that high salary, because there's no telling what all.
Well, they do like flips and stuff, and he gets like lowered down from the ceiling. Like he does all this like crazy stuff. So
oh my god,
it's well earned, but it's just like so crazy to think about that. It's just like I was like, that is like the highest paid mascot in sports is Rocky from the Nuggets. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. Who knew?
It's fun.
That's really funny. Well, I am so glad that you told me all the things today, because I had a great time visiting with you.
I did too. This is so cool.
I I could probably sit here and talk to you all night about God knows what. But yeah, it was really cool just hearing your story and how you got into that. And of course, your baker story. That's a good one. I'm going to
Thank
be
you. Yeah.
sharing that one for sure.
Please,
So,
please do, because like I need someone like
yes.
outside of me and like the 5 people I know who witnessed it to like validate that that
Oh, how
happened and it
funny.
wasn't just like a collective fever dream,
Yes.
because it's like I need someone else to know that this happened to me and like
That's
see it with their own eyes.
that's
Because it's
hilarious.
like it's funny. That's actually how I made some of my friends in college. Is they're like, "Oh yeah, I saw you just get tackled by
Oh,
Baker."
well, okay. Well, Baker
Yeah,
acknowed that it happened twice.
Baker
So,
acknowledged that it happened,
he's
so
that's
that's
funny.
true. That's all I
Well,
really need.
someday if I ever meet him, that's the first thing I'm going to say.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
I hope you guys enjoyed that fun conversation with Maddie. She is so hilarious. We laughed so hard during our recording. I truly enjoyed visiting with her. Thank you again, Maddie, for giving me the time to come on to the podcast and share your fun stories. And I know this episode is kind of short this week. I don't have a lot of headlines to share, but I know last week's was a little longer than normal with my double gymnastics episode with Mackenzie Wofford and Brenna Dowell Barnes, both former OU gymnasts. So I hope that you'll take a little extra time to go back and get caught up on that episode, as well as so many of the other great episodes that I had lined up in July. And also, in case you missed it on social media, my August lineup is incredible. Of course, this episode today with Maddie is just the beginning of what is a fantastic month on Sooner Girl Sports Pod next week. I have former Sooner cheerleader and current race car driver Taylor Reimer. She is incredible. She has been so fun to follow on social media since I chatted with her. I cannot wait for you guys to hear that conversation. And then on 820, I have former volleyball player and current pro for the Indy Ignite volleyball team is Lydia Martin. Again, another incredible athlete who has a great story and journey of how she ended up at OU. And I just enjoyed visiting with her, sharing her story, and now talking about being a pro volleyball player in Indy. And then to close out the month of August, I have another episode of the Crimson Chronicles with my sweet friend Robin Needham, her son Nick, who is a current member of the Pride of Oklahoma. So we have a little Crimson Chronicles / Pride of Oklahoma episode to close out the month of August before we head into football season. Robin talks about how she grew up Sooner born and raised, never knew any different, and now her son Nick in the Pride of Oklahoma. And Nick joins us to talk about his time. He just wrapped up his first year in the Pride, tells a few stories about traveling and getting to experience different things with the band, and looking forward to our next season in the SEC and all that it holds as well. And so that is a fantastic conversation as well. And I also have a lot of fun names on deck for September heading into football season. I have talked to several former OU football players, none current, but recent former players, and a few oldies but goodies that you guys will not want to miss out as we roll into September. So I hope that you'll give me a follow on all social media at Sooner Girl Pod on every platform so that you don't miss anything, announcements going forward as I announce the guest coming up and just other fun things going on with the podcast. I am planning, of course, I have my monthly online meetup with my locker room girls. We do that every month on Google Meet. Usually toward the end of the month. And so if you want to join in for the month of August, it's not too late to do that. You can do that on soonergirlsportspod.substack.com and become a subscriber. Also, I am planning a fall meetup in person in Norman before a football game in September. So you guys won't want to miss out on that. Again, that's just for my locker room members. So it's not too late to join in on that. If you want to stock up on your merch, now is a great time to do so. It's soonergirl.bigcartel.com. And be sure and shoot me a picture of you sporting your new merch or tag me on social media. And again, I'm on all platforms at Sooner Girl Pod. I hope that you'll go give me a follow. I am especially active on Instagram and Facebook stories and Twitter/X. I post a lot of up to the minute announcements and fun things going on, so you won't want to miss there. Also, be sure and subscribe on Substack. You can have all the episodes each week and any major announcements sent straight to your inbox for free. Again, it's soonergirlsportspod.substack.com. You can sign up for free Or again, you can join as a locker room member and subscribe for only $5 a month and get lots of other perks as well. We have our chat, our monthly online meetup that I mentioned. We're doing an in-person meetup. As I mentioned in September, I do lots of giveaways. We have a private Instagram feed, just lots of fun. You also get a discount on merch and other fun things. You're the first to know all the insider information. In fact, all of those people have heard all of the football names that I mentioned that I have coming up this football season that I've talked to. Not going to put it out there publicly just yet, but all of those locker room girls have heard those names and they know who to look for. So I hope that you will consider giving me a follow on Substack, and ladies, give me a subscribe, and be sure and find out all of that insider information. Again, there are sponsorship and advertising opportunities for the podcast. If you're interested in finding out more information about that, you can send me a message on any social media at Sooner Girl Pod, or shoot me an email at soonergirlsportspod@gmail.com. Okay, so to end this week's episode with a Sooner fun fact of the week, it is my friend Amber Flores. She became the first person in Big 12 conference history to win back-to-back Big 12 Softball Player of the Year honors during her time at OU. And that was in 2009 and 2010. So shout out to my friend Amber Flores for that amazing accomplishment. Even though it was a long time ago, it still means a lot and carries a lot of weight to Sooner Nation. So shout out to you. And again, shout out to my friend Amber, Coach Amber, and Tina Floyd. I know I've mentioned them quite a few times. Amber coaches the OKC Spark. Tina is the owner. We also have former Sooner Jaden Wallace on staff, Destiny Martinez, McElroy is on staff, and many other Sooners, of course, are players. Shout out to the OKC Spark for a fantastic season. I cannot believe that it's over. I'm really still sad that it's over, if we're being honest. However, try to look at the silver lining and just tell myself that that just means it's almost football season, which then in turn gets us closer to basketball season and softball season, baseball. So there's always something to look forward to in Sooner Nation. But shout out to my sweet friends. And thank you guys for listening this week. I know, again, it's a little shorter episode maybe, but I hope that you guys will go back and catch up on some previous episodes of Sooner Girl Sports Pad. And come back next week. There will be lots of Sooner headlines to catch up on and lots more fun things to talk about. So I hope to see you next week on Wednesday, where we talk sports.